Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a call to order for the Educational Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. Today's date is Tuesday, February 22nd. The time is now 6:36 p.m. In attendance, we've got myself, Committee Chair Joseph Skalovic, Committee Member Bobby Brown, Committee Member Erica Castillo, and we've got Dr. McPherson assisting us on staff. Okay, the first item on the agenda today. Oh, and I'm sorry. Thank you, Ms. Brown. We got Mr. Albert Benahan on live stream. On TV.
Yeah.
All right. The first item on the agenda is discussion and approval of minutes dated January 31st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Does anybody have any corrections of any or omissions?
Nope.
No.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Minutes are approved. Item number 2, discussion and possible action on free anti-racism training for board members and other elected officials to take place in a BPS location. We have members, members of Bridgeport Generation Now, Callie Hammond, and oh my God, Community Davis, thank you. I flying sometimes. Yes, please come up to the table.
Okay.
I know I've got blank on one of their names.
Hey, how are you? Good. Hi. Hi. Good. Very good.
Okay. I first heard about this training through the group meetings. I've attended some of their anti-racism meetings, and they do very well. And they first broached the subject about a month or two ago, and I thought it'd be a good idea. They were already offering the training to the board and the city council coming up, but I thought it'd be a good idea to lend our facilities to the effort since they meet them halfway and help maybe defray some of their expenses.
Great.
So can one of you ladies lead? Who wants to lead off telling us about the program?
Sure. Well, I guess I can start. Hello, everyone.
Jameem Davis.
My name is Jameem Davis, and I am the Vice President and Co-Director of Bridgeport Generation Now. We are a grassroots nonprofit organization working really hard in Bridgeport to create a more just, equitable, and livable city. We use the tools of community organizing, do policy research, we do civic education, and we are really working to dismantle the root causes of the problems here in Bridgeport that have been holding us back as a community, racism being one of them. We have partnered with the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond for the last 4 Undoing Racism workshops. And I'll let Callie go into a little bit more about the program, but essentially it's a 2.5-day workshop that really takes individuals through a process whereby they get to self-examine and understand how we have all been racialized in this country and how we might be carrying harmful ways of being into our lives and our work in our society right now, and then how we can organize together to change that.
Yeah. So the first time that we brought an Undoing Racism training to Bridgeport was in 2017. We did 2 back-to-back workshops, weekend workshops at the Discovery Museum, and trained about 60 people total at that time. The workshops and then we did another one in 2019 at the Burroughs Community Center, and we did one in 2021 at the University of Bridgeport. So we've trained about 130 people so far, and as Jameem said, the purpose and mission behind it is really to begin to build a community of leaders in Bridgeport who are committed to the practice of anti-racism, so that together we can further the mission of justice and equity in our community. The People's Institute has been around since 1980. They have trained over 2 million people since that time through their signature workshop, which is called Undoing Racism, and are a national leader in this work around social justice. The training can hold 40 participants total, and the People's Institute provides 3 trainers to support the 2.5 days. We just are the organizers of the training. We don't do the training. Each time that we've held it, we've sort of put a call to leadership within Bridgeport. And this time we're really hopeful that we can get elected and city officials in the room. And so we're really looking for partnership with you all, the Board of Education, City Council, city officials to attend. It will be free. So the workshop is subsidized through our grant. We have received a grant to put this workshop together, so it will be free for participants. But we do need a space, and we would love to do it in a Bridgeport Public School location. So
Yeah.
and the dates are on the back. April 1st through April 3rd.
So my question, if you do it out of school, will it still be only open to 40? Or could that number grow? Because if we're looking to expand this, we may have a larger number that can participate.
No, so the workshop is limited to 40 people because that is the most that the 3 trainers can hold. It's a very intensive workshop. It gets, like Jameen said, it gets to the core, and the work goes very deep, and so it's harder to do that in large groups.
Okay.
Yeah, so this would be a workshop that is by invitation and registration only for elected and city officials.
Okay.
We are always open to doing more training. So that is an option for going forward. So if it's a question of expanding the training and offering it to other people, we can certainly apply for more grants to bring the workshop back again.
Okay.
This will be our 5th one, and they are very expensive.
Yeah.
So having a location, donated will go a long way.
So this would be for board members first?
No, in conjunction with the city councilors.
Okay.
That'll be like, if everybody signs up,
So then
29 slots, and then you say, yeah.
Also community leaders as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So would this have to be for the whole 3 days, or do you choose a day?
No, you have to come to all 3 days.
It's the 3 days. Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
And you're fed your meals.
Yeah, so and we coordinate that. So that would be what we can organize to do is the meals and all the logistics.
Great. Is your grant state funded?
No,
No,
Federally funded?
no, we got
foundation.
foundation funded.
That's great. Very good.
And how are we going to fill the additional seats?
You did the community.
Yeah, the community. I mean, how's it going to be set up? Is it going to be like you say you got a reserve, you can have a cutoff. So I know we're not going to probably get 29
Right.
council and board members. So we need to find out because they're going to be the primary beneficiary of this training. So say you're only going to get 20. You want everybody to sign up by a certain date so you know how many other seats you need to fill.
Yeah, we've done this now, I think 4 times, going on our 5th time. So, we have a process where we send people like an initial application. We have a due date and things like that.
And what else? My first time doing this, I got to say.
Yeah, yeah.
What else?
See, what happens is there's a first round of prioritized, like invites.
Yeah.
And then, once those commitments come through, then there's a second round. So,
And as far as your space needs, tell me a little bit about the program. It's not going to be all somebody sitting in front of a room talking. It's going to be breakout sessions or what have you.
no, the majority of the time is actually spent together in a circle. So all we need is a room large enough where 40 people can sit in a circle, just safely, in this day and age, safely distanced. But with the facilitators bring chart paper and an easel, and they bring everything that they need.
Okay, so we'll just need the one that makes coordination a lot easier on the staff.
So they just have to show up.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a question.
Oh, yes.
No.
I'm sorry.
So you've been doing this since 2017, these workshops,
Mm-hmm.
yeah? And then, and you've done it with kind of civic leaders and so forth prior?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. In Connecticut or elsewhere in other spaces?
No, only in Bridgeport.
Oh, you have worked with other agencies in Bridgeport?
Yes.
All right, okay. And how has it been? How's it been received?
Oh, very,
Very well.
Very
Like,
well.
there's
Very
no, we haven't had, right, it's a wonderful experience. So the participants come in and, go through this process, go through it together, and definitely leave like changed in a way. And when I mean changed, I mean like in, understanding that racism is really pervasive in this country, specifically in the United States, and that it is all of our responsibility to undo it. So so people are very inspired to learn more and to dig deeper within themselves, within their families, within their communities, within their workspaces, to start to really have real conversations about the long-term effects of the racial
So you've
dynamic.
Since 2017, my last question.
Yeah.
Obviously pre-COVID and post-COVID, obviously post George Floyd, May 2020, has there been like a difference in terms of how it was perceived back in 2017 when you started it, when there was not much conversation around race and issues of equity and so forth, at least not on the agenda, not on the public agenda as much as we've seen?
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed a difference or anything in how it's been received in terms of?
I think just from the People's Institute, I think they would tell you that they have gotten much busier
Okay.
since 2020. They're training national organizations, like United Way, like the YMCA. They're taking huge national nonprofits and other agencies, the city of Austin, for example, so I think they would say that their work has become exponentially larger and their impact much larger. For us, I think the best thing about the workshop is that it's only people who want to be there come.
Right.
So it's not about, this isn't a training that HR is making
Not
you.
Right.
It's like, this is something that you want to do for your own soul and your own community. And that it makes all the difference. And so I think we've just always experienced people being very passionate pre-2020 and post-2020 about the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before I continue, I'd like to recognize that Mr. Benahan has joined the meeting. And I'm sorry, it's this. He needs to Take a seat at the table. Mr.
Oh,
Bennett.
no problem. I just couldn't hear.
That's okay, okay. Thank you, no.
Hey, can I go anywhere? You-
Yeah. Come, sit at the,
Thank you.
join us at the table, Mr. Bennett.
Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries.
got one to give you, that's all.
Yeah, actually, if it was smaller, I wouldn't even mention it, but gotta get them in. Do you have any questions, Mr. Bennett?
No, not question.
So I just have one follow-up. So there's no data tracking or nothing like that, since people are just like so people are just coming, to educate themselves, but like, how do you track anything, city-wise that, could be shown forth by this training?
That is not something that is a goal of ours or PSAB. I mean, I don't really want to talk for them, but that's not a goal to track. It is an offering that people can take advantage of if they want, and then they can use that information to make the changes, both big and small, within themselves and in community.
Yeah.
I think that our aim, right, is to get community leaders in the room, to get city officials in the room, to get Board of Ed in the room. And so it may be very interesting for us later on to look at what kinds of policies
Okay.
come out of the individuals who go through the training. And so that's why we do it, but it's not a go through the training and now
What do you do next?
what do you
Right.
do next?
Right.
The reason why I asked that is because, like, serve on the board where will be, want to make sure that like it's clear to those that attend, like, this is one of those moments where you can engage for your own responsibility in learning this, but also too that there's no pressure in a sense to learn any of the information.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that, we share that, because I know a lot of people are like, well, what is the goal? Like, what are you trying to get out of it? So that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just there is a real impact.
Mhm.
So like I can share a story, which is, a different type of data collection.
Okay.
But we have a monthly group that's one of our programs that's called the Bridgeport Anti-Racism Collective. And so people, since we've been doing this since 2017, people who go through the training and come to our monthly meetings, and it's like a support group, like an accountability group,
Okay.
to say like, keep your commitment. And for example, when we did our training in 2021, someone from Fairfield University attended, and then they just a month ago brought Undoing Racism to Fairfield University.
Nice.
So the impact, it has an impact for sure.
Yeah, I was going to speak to impact as well, because it's something that can't be measured in metrics. You're not really going to be able to measure this in metrics. Myself and my journey, being exposed to different things, changed my ideas. If I was never exposed to certain things, my decisions would not go a certain way.
Correct.
I grew up in a household of Democrats, but I actually grew up a conservative Republican. So I had a lot different ideas 20 years ago than I have today. And that's because I leave myself open to exposure to different ideas, different views, and different values. Now, say we get the result of this is maybe one or two city councilors changing the way they think, and one board member changing the way they think.
Yeah.
Now they could create a new policy out of this new thinking, but you'll never ever be able to trace it back to the Undoing Racism training. But it will be understood
That
Right.
that is one of the bringers of the thing. It's like this committee sometimes gets frustrating because a lot of the things we're doing we won't see in our lifetime. We're building bridges to the future, or maybe the people that come after us could benefit from. And that's something to always keep in mind when we're doing this work, is that we may not see the benefits, but it's there. We may not be able to quantify the benefits. It's like when we present the data, we could put a goal, decrease the disparate impacts by 5%. That's something we can measure.
Yeah.
We can't measure why.
Good point.
Now, Is there any other questions for these wonderful?
I just had one question. The People's Institute for Survival and Beyond, where are they based out of? Like, where's their headquarters?
New Orleans.
Okay, awesome. So it's a very sort of national,
Yeah.
they do national work.
National and international.
And international, wow, great. Excellent. So will the facilitators be in person?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, yes, Mr. Benahan.
Yeah, I didn't have a question, but how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you around. Long time to see you.
You know, nice.
For how long is this program? Sorry to ask you, I don't know if you said before, sorry, for how long, because they said it's free, but,
Oh, it's 2.5 days.
oh, okay.
Yeah, 3 days.
So flip it over.
On the other side.
Yeah, I just got here, just for asking. And also, when you said that, I heard you say it's only for the board members in the city. It's not the way they can use the PAC leaders for each school help another parents.
Sorry, say that again?
We got each school, we have PAC leaders. We got PTS,
PAC leaders.
and PAC, PTS. So in the future, I don't know if you guys were thinking to have this program, for the school, wherever PAC leader would need it to show and help all PAC, parents.
Yes, yeah. So we said, there's a first round of invitations, and then we'll go to a second round if we can't fill all 40 seats that first time. So we'll see where else we can recruit from if we need to fill the full training. And we have a commitment to doing this workshop. We always say twice a year, but at least once a year.
Yeah.
And so there will be an opportunity for the school, the
Right.
public school community. Yeah.
And, I'm the chair of student family. So when that situation happens, just let me know. I would like to bring it to my committee,
Yes.
and then they are part of my committee. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
thank you so much. No more question, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
At this point, I'll entertain a motion to move this to the full board for approval of providing this space and to encourage board members to attend the free anti-racism training being sponsored by Bridgeport Generation Now.
So move.
Second.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome to stick around if you like. Next up on the agenda is presentation of disaggregated student AP participation data as compared to the overall student demographics. This is something we had last month on the agenda, but it was just overall data. Some students take 2. This is actually suggested to me by, what was it? CT Mirror reporter asked me, because I was talking about how much more participation we had. I pointed out that the data wasn't disaggregated because some people take multiple courses and some people take one. So it was kind of skewed, but now we got the data up here. And Dr. McPherson, taking that away, please. You want the charts?
We can work with that.
Ask me whatever slide, which one you want, the chart.
Do you have this
Please.
as well?
I don't know what page it is.
Tim sent this.
Yes.
You do. Okay.
We got everything.
Okay, so this is a lot of data embedded in here, but I wasn't here at the last meeting, but I'm just gonna give an overview of the data that is in front of us, okay? So there are 2 documents. One just basically highlights all the high schools and all the AP courses. About this one. The first document, it highlights all the AP courses that are offered at the high schools, at all the high schools, and the breakdown of students in grades 11 and 12 who are taking those courses, okay, by race, all right? So for instance, you can see at BMA, currently they're offering 3 AP courses. At aerospace, there are 6 courses that are offered, and so forth. At BASIC, 5 courses that are offered. At biotech, 4 courses. At Central, in excess of 10 courses are offered. Hardin, 9 courses are offered, and IT offers 5. And these courses vary across the high schools. They vary from AP Calculus, AP Psychology, AP English Lit, Composition, AP US History, World History, Spanish, World History, Computer Science, and there's a wide array of courses that are offered. In terms of the breakdown, with this first document that we're looking at, it speaks to the numbers of students by race who are taking those courses. All right. So, for instance, if we look at aerospace, the very first school, the document's alphabetized. There are 69. Go up some more. So at aerospace, you have 69 Hispanic students who are taking 2 or more courses. All right, so these are all the numbers. And then as we read across the document by race, we then get to demographic in terms of gender, right? So we'll see, for instance, at aerospace, we have more male students taking AP courses than you do female. BMA, it's the opposite. You have more females than males taking AP courses and so forth. If we go down to biotech, it's much the same. You have more female courses taking 2 or more AP classes than you do males. Seeing as we are looking at diversity and equity, not just in terms of race, but in gender as well. If we look at central, again, females dominate. But there was one school, as I went through the data, and I want to say there was one other school. And if we go to the IT school, information technology school, all the way down, you actually have, that's interesting, you actually have more males taking AP courses than you do females taking AP courses. All right. So any questions about this document?
This is really good.
Okay, I didn't do it, but, no, but this is the information that we got from data management. All right, they broke everything down.
I guess my question would be is, I see like the numbers go back and forth, male to female. How are the courses advertised for students?
That would be with their guidance counselors, how they're offered, teacher recommendations, and so forth. That's usually the how the students basically come to, be, what can I say, enrolled in AP classes.
Does future plans, like, colleges have a lot to do with what they take as AP courses as well? So for instance, when I attended Hardin, there were a lot of like, when I was in the nurse, I did not be a nurse, but when I was in medical magnet, there were a lot of classes AP courses that were suggested based off of the track they thought I would want to be on. Does that have a lot to do with the track?
Yes, I think that does also have a lot to do with it. Again, it's potential that's seen. It is student recommendations as well. Student ask and student access.
Okay. The reason why I ask is because I'm always interested. I know one thing that we were talking about is how we present future teachers, for instance, in our district. What are some of the courses or classes, and they may go up and down, I'm not sure, but like, how do we find ways to advertise them to take certain courses that can one day impact them to become a teacher in the district? That's just one conversation that I just raised that brought it up.
Yeah, this is just to piggyback on. That's one of the things I was talking about heading towards marketing, is the solutions. We're talking solutions earlier. We got to hone in on where we need the solutions and then market towards the overlooked groups. And maybe even expand more. But let's get into the data a little more.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's actually perfect. We're here for solutions. But that's definitely where we need to move.
Okay. So this second document that we're looking at basically has charted it gives us a visual representation of the data. And it's actually, as detailed as it is, it basically summarizes the percentages of students who are taking courses. So again, at aerospace, if we look at the second chart to your, stay right there on that page, right? 8 aero students taking 2 or more AP classes. You'll see that 39% of the students taking 2 or more, 39% of students taking 2 or more AP courses are Hispanic. And then you have an additional 5% of Hispanic students at aerospace taking 2 or more courses, right? So that gives you an average of about, I guess, 40-something% of students. And as we read across, we'll see the same thing. Now, the numbers for Native Americans, the numbers for Asians are low, but they're simply low based on the enrollment of that demographic of students at the schools. 29% of Black students are taking 2 or more AP courses, and 21% of students, white students enrolled at aerospace, are taking 2 or more courses. All right, and then as we go across in terms of our percentages, I'm going to leave those 2 charts alone because they do seem a bit skewed.
Yeah,
I didn't.
I got a question about the data. I don't know if
didn't
you,
I just.
you kind of helped me get the data together in the last committee, and
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna hope for here
I didn't.
as
I
well.
just thought this thing.
You know, and I asked for it, and I tried to ask for what I want, but you were very good about helping me hone in on the numbers that we actually need to be useful.
Yeah.
Because I got a question about the arrow, if you could decipher it. I'm looking at like the Hispanic got 1 AP and the Hispanic 2 AP. And that 5% 2 AP number, are those numbers double, do we know if those numbers are double counted?
Are you talking? So it's got Hispanic total. So I believe it's the total number of Hispanics who are taking 2 or more AP classes.
Which is the 5%.
All right. Whereas the 5%, no. It says Hispanic total.
Hispanic total.
So I cannot speak to this. And in the in being transparent, I got this data this evening.
Well, I can speak
All
to
right. So I cannot speak to it in its entirety. In looking over it since I've gotten it, I still have some questions, and I'm not sure if this is the place to state them. So there's still some questions.
Right. Yeah.
So maybe we could. Is it possible to table this and come back to this? Or no? I don't know.
It is, we could revisit as well.
I think we should revisit it.
As well, but let's switch over and talk about data presentation, because this is all on me. This is how I asked for the data. I know I could definitely tell you that the Hispanic total on the left is the percentage that schools representation in
Mr. Chair.
population.
Is there anyone in question?
Yes, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. But my question is, well, how come the Hispanic there's more high and the other ones, they're receiving the same, score and everything.
You mean at, for instance, aerospace? So aerospace.
No, aerospace, and I see the other one, basic, I see everything you put here, it feels like, they're more high. My question is, how come, are they learning the same thing as the student at the same time?
So aerospace, we know it's one of the magnet schools. I cannot speak entirely to your question. This data, I did not do these charts.
Okay, I understand.
So I can't, what I'd like us to do is to revisit this.
Yes.
Okay, in all fairness and in all honesty, I'd like us to revisit this as a committee. All right, to get some time to just dig a little bit deeper because I do have some questions.
Right.
All right, but this is what gives us the numbers. This first document that we looked at gives us the actual numbers, which were current as of currently enrolled. Now, the percentages are a bit, I'm not sure.
Right.
All right, so
and how about this? Because you do so well with the way the data was presented on a previous committee, LFL, and we finally got it honed in. Let me just let you know, I'm just looking for something where we can compare side by side.
Visually, this is great,
right? But to get the numbers in.
Right, so I would like to, just regroup. Another.
You can talk to me offline, but I'm going to let you actually.
I will.
Spearhead that because you.
Yeah, I will. I have no problem doing that. I have no problem talking about base with data management, and you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And going over it.
And I'll facilitate it through an email with Ms. Testani.
Yeah, if you can do.
Move that over. Yes, I apologize. What I'm looking for is to point out the things that we're looking for. We can see what we see if we go back to the data. Like, IT, I mentioned, one of the schools I noticed had a skew in the male-female, but I also noticed that there is a skew in the enrollment as well.
But on this, I don't think you said on the enrollment?
Yeah, the enrollment numbers. One school got, okay, like, IT got 716 females, 551 males.
Right.
And when we're looking at the male-females.
No, that's not IT, that's the total. That is the total number of females in the district and males, right at the bottom. So IT subtotal, but then the total.
Okay,
subtotal.
correct. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's the entire
All right,
district.
so let's flip. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's what I expected numbers to read. Thank you so much for pointing that
All
out.
right.
So you got 162 males versus 75 females.
I mean, what we can.
I think that's something to look at in and of itself.
What we can speak to with this first document is the fact that across the district, we have 627 Hispanic students taking one or more AP classes. We have 9 American Indians, and that's because we don't have a lot of American Indians enrolled in the district, right? Asians, we have 76 Asians. We have 362 African-American Black students taking one or more AP classes, 9 Islanders, 176 white students taking one or more AP classes, and then 8 students across the district who identify racially as being of 2 or more races taking one or more AP classes. In its entirety, across the district, we have 716 females taking one or more AP classes and 551 male students, taking one or more AP classes. All right, so that is a total of, and of those students, we have 134 who are English language learners. Gives us a total of 1,267 students across the district who are taking one or more AP classes.
Are you aware of anything about the capacity of these classes? Do these classes have more capacity than they're currently using? Or?
They have capacity. One thing about these courses, they are challenging courses, and sometimes students will be enrolled in them and will choose to, to leave the classes for whatever reason. I know that I don't have data from, say, 10 years ago or anything like that, but what I do know is that there was a big push, and has been a big push, to increase the enrollment of our students within AP courses. And also the offering of more AP courses.
And what grade could they start taking the AP courses?
Typically it's grade 11. Typically it's grade 11. I do know that Central offers, I want to say it's US history, world history for 9th graders, and has been doing for some time. But typically it's in the 11th grade.
So a good time to start marketing would probably be in the 9th grade.
In the 9th grade, as well as maybe introducing middle school students to, what they can access once they get to high school. All right.
Yeah, Mr. Bananas.
No, go ahead, your committee, Chris.
I was just commenting.
Okay. Does include the special need?
Do we have, it's not in this, they haven't broken it out here,
Okay.
but that's another
Okay,
demographic that we
okay,
could look
okay.
at. All right, yeah. All right, just because you're special, that doesn't mean that you can't take any
Right.
classes, right?
Yeah.
So I guess we could leave this here and we get the data together. I'll get to you after the meeting, and basically looking for the same thing. And then we'll revisit this, because all these issues really can't tell this. You could see some disparity, but you really can't see it straight up right now the way I asked for the numbers to be presented. And that's
And you got the number.
Yeah, we got the numbers, and we could just get that fixed. So motion to table the rest of this until the next meeting.
So move.
Second that?
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, what's next up on the agenda? Way over here. We've got,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
okay, paraprofessional employee demographic data.
Okay, yeah.
Is that on this?
It's on the bottom, I think.
Aha.
Yeah.
This stuff. Perfect. Hmm. Yeah, whenever you're ready. It's-
Okay. Let you tap this.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
No, I'm good. I'm so nice. You all have tablets. I'm good.
Last page.
They charge for like forever. I was like, I left this open for like a whole week.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there are 300 paraprofessionals in the district. The majority are female, 84% of them are female, 16% are male. In terms of the breakdown in races, one American Indian, Alaskan Native, one American Indian, Alaskan Native and Black, two Asians, three Black and white non-Hispanic, 97, so 32% are Black or African American, and 28%, 84 of our paraprofessionals identify as Hispanic Latino. Native Hawaiian Pacific Island, 1, 2 or more races, 4, unknown, 7, white, 100, 33%. This was interesting for me as I went through this data myself. In terms of education, 4%, 12 of the paraprofessionals have 60 or more credits, all right? And I understand that this was an accepted requirement a while back, and some of these paraprofessionals were grandfathered in. I'm just reiterating this. Of our 300 paras, so they're highly qualified as far as I'm concerned.
I see.
106 of them have associate's degrees, so that's 35% of them have associate's degrees. 87, 29% of them have a bachelor's degree. 3 have a high school diploma. 8, so almost 3% have a master's degree. 13, I guess we don't have access to their education qualifications. And 71 of them have a para assessment certificate, all right? And as we break that down by race, we will see that our American Indian Alaskan Native has the para assessment certificate. Our Asian paraprofessional, of which we have, our American Indian, Alaskan Native, and Black has a bachelor's. That one para has a bachelor's degree. Our Asian, we have one Asian para who has a bachelor's also. Our Black and white non-Hispanic, 2 have bachelor's. 37 of our Black African American paraprofessionals have a bachelor's. 35 of them have an associate's degree, and 4 of them have 60 or more college credits. Hispanic Latinos, we have, again, 5 of our paraprofessionals who have the 60 or more college credits. 33 have an associate's degree, and 16 have a bachelor's. 1 has a high school. Oh, I forgot to mention that 3 African Americans have masters, and 28 have the para assessment certification, going back to our Hispanic Latinos. Our Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander, we have 1 with a bachelor's. Paras who identify as having 2 or more, or coming from 2 or more races. 1 has one with a bachelor's degree and another with a para assessment certificate. Unknown 1. One has, an unknown race, I guess, has an associate's degree, and one has a bachelor's degree. And of our white paras, 3 have the college, 60 or more college credits, 35 have associate's degrees, 27 have bachelor's, 1 has a high school diploma, 4 have masters, and 25 have a para assessment certificate.
Awesome.
Any questions about that? How
Yeah,
that make-
I'm going to stop, Mr. Bennett. The reason I brought this up, like, I don't know if y'all remember me discussing this whole thing as a giant jigsaw puzzle.
That's right.
This could be an integral piece of the puzzle to the last piece we were talking about at the last meeting with the teachers
Right.
and lack of diversity in teachers. If you just look at this, it's still an imbalance, but the numbers are closer to where they should be
Correct.
than,
Right.
as you see, Caucasians are not the majority when you add together all the people of color, as opposed to the our teachers.
Right.
They're like neck and neck.
Slightly,
Yeah.
they're like 33%.
Right. So, looking at this data, and a lot of the teacher programs are for people with degrees. And one of the sticking points for the teacher programs is for the teacher residency and things. But I don't know if this could be something worked out with our paraprofessionals where they do some of their teaching work in the classroom where they're paraprofessionals, and maybe we could.
They're highly qualified, there's many of them.
Absolutely. And it's easier for the people with the bachelor's degrees than the
Yeah.
associate degrees,
I did not think.
but not impossible for the people with the associate degree.
Right.
Listen, they're 60 or more credits, you're halfway there to your bachelor's.
So
Right.
so the solution should be what is district willing to do to meet them halfway? How can we support them to over the hump? You know, 'cause
First of all, we'd have to find out how many of them actually want to.
Right.
Right.
that's a good point too.
Oftentimes, they have
Came through like,
different reasons why not. To find out how many would be interested if offered that opportunity. And I do know that over the years, there have been a variety of programs that have come on the table for paraprofessionals who wanted to go into the classroom
Right.
to take specific courses and stuff.
Yeah. And I've heard from talking to various groups that one of the major sticking point is the student teaching and going without a paycheck for X amount of years. And the student teaching, if the student teaching could be done under a teacher in the same room where they're a paraprofessional, that might be able to, I don't know if it's possible, if it would be within the
We have to
regulations, but it's something to
investigate
definitely look at, because I don't see why not. Because the state's gonna have to change something, because we're coming up to a deficit of teachers that's really worse than a fiscal cliff. I mean, there's an education cliff with the teachers that actually needs to be resolved, and until something changes, we're not gonna get past that. Mr. Benahan, you had a question.
Yeah, it's not questions that come in. I see this percent like a black African American 97, Hispanic Latino 84. I see the back, everything you say. And it's great to have this staff, with an amazing degree and everything. We're very lucky that they're still here because they can go in any place, and we appreciate that because, they stay here because they care about education for our children. And I'm very surprised. I never see this percent, so many. That's all, was less. I'm very glad, Mr. Joe, you bring that, to your committee because now we know where we are, and I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised that we have this amazing people. They stay because they care and they want the best education for our children. Because with all this bachelor and all this degree, they can go any place they want. So I just want to bring that to that comment. Mr. Chair.
Right, and I didn't ask for the data that we presented in the way I just coming to now in my head, just looking at it. There's a disparity in the Hispanics. I think it's 51% to 28. So there's like maybe.
Where you're talking.
When you look at the number of, the demographics. You're looking at,
They have 84 to 97.
yeah, because if you're going with a population total Hispanic, we naturally have to outnumber the African Americans to be equitably balanced. I'm saying that there's something wrong with recruitment or anything, but it's something to look at, just like when we looked at the teachers, it was, what was it, 11 to 51? I think the numbers have changed since that last data. Maybe we should get that updated as well.
Right.
But,
But remember, you have some that haven't identified, so. you know,
Correct.
You've got 7 that are unknown.
right,
Sometimes when people are 2 or more races, it's where they fall, right?
yes.
I'm not
Well, that's what.
counting what you're
Right,
saying,
yeah.
but I'm just saying there could be.
Yeah, no doubt. This is just something to look at, but everything else seems to be basically within line of the demographics from what I remember.
Mhm.
It's definitely something to look at, and I don't know, maybe we could research a little more on programs for the paraprofessionals. It
Right.
would be a good source of people, and then maybe we could research on how to get more, if it is an imbalance, Hispanics into paraprofessionals to better reflect the student body.
Okay.
Is there any other questions? This was not really an action item, so
No.
what's the next item on the agenda?
Discuss impossible action.
A district-wide diversity celebration. Now, I thought of this because the work we're doing here is going to be extremely hard, a thankless task.
Mhm.
95% of it's going to be self-criticism of ourselves, the board, the city, and the problems that we have. But we do some good.
Right.
And I think it would be great to have an outlet to celebrate what we're doing right, and it's a diversity, the great diversity within our district. And it's just something I wanted to throw out there is we could have like a year-end celebrations highlighting our rich diversity in school district to the extent that it exists. So I don't know what that looks like, feels like,
I'm just.
but I just know that
That's good.
after bashing people upside the head for so many times with that and this and that, that it needs to be acknowledged the areas that we're doing right and that we are trying and that there is an effort being made. And I think there's some value in that.
I agree. I mean, I think it's worth doing. It's just a matter of what it will look like. Because in my head, maybe I'm looking at it wrong. I'm like, I still see a cultural day, but
Yeah.
I know it's more than just cultural. So like, it would just really need some outlining as to what our goal aim
Where
is.
would it be? What would it look like?
Yeah.
Would you
How much
craft
it'll
it?
cost.
But I think it's doable.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think diversity is there's so much that falls under the
It is.
umbrella of diversity. And here in Bridgeport, we're so blessed to be of such racial and cultural diversity, but there's a lot more that goes under that sort of umbrella. It's kind of hard to be all encompassing for one major event. I wonder if there is any level of standardization in terms of which holidays, heroes and holidays that we celebrate district-wide. Are you aware of anything of the sort? Like I know Lunar New Year just passed. Obviously now is Black History Month. Next month is Women's History Month. And I know that there's some flexibility, of course, school by school in terms of what those celebrations might look like, but it might be worth looking at, just in terms of like, how we have our academic calendar and which holidays we're recognizing in terms of days off. I think it would be good to maybe look at, create a diversity calendar for as guidance for the schools to kind of follow. And, that way as a district, we're acknowledging different, celebrations throughout the year. And it becomes a little more intentional annually, rather than being this kind of one big moment where like, we're diverse and,
Right.
done.
Yeah.
A good idea. I like the idea of the calendar.
I got some
It's like a-
idea from that Mr. Benahan's center when he had the parent center. You got the flags.
Yep.
Representing almost every country. I don't know.
That's what I was saying, like
And then just
cultural,
like-
when I think about the way, what I'm envisioning when you say it, it's like kind of like what we did in college. They have a cultural center, but what Ms. Erica is saying is that diversity is not just one thing.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
it's gonna be kind of hard. We just have to really explain and understand where we're trying to go with it so that it doesn't just turn into people just showing up with flags.
Right,
Because it's more than just,
absolutely.
does that make sense?
Yes, and it is like,
Like if there's like points that we want to accomplish by hosting this day, like, that'd be something I think we'll be looking into it. Like if we're trying to, from a board perspective, like how many of did we rise the number in SATs or something like that for students of color? I'm just doing something.
right,
If that's something that like, if we have like a point that we're trying to aim at, and then we can celebrate around those major points versus us walking in with a bunch of flags.
right, yeah. I'm thinking like, what Ms. Castillo brought up is good, definitely. But year-long shouldn't be more than one day, but I'm also thinking along like maybe like a parent convention with several, similar to the parent convention, where you have several breakout sessions, like diverse careers for diverse people. And I know, just like I said, when I started this, I have no idea what it looks like. I still have no idea what it looks like. I got an idea that it's got to look like something.
But
It's something I feel like needs to be done.
the more you're talking about, the more it makes sense. Like when you said like hosting something like that, that brings awareness to diversity on all platforms. I think that's doable because it makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like it kind of makes sense, like hosting something where parents, staff, community can come and learn about the diversity that's within our schools. Kind of like what Jameen and Callie are doing, just on the other side of it. Does that make sense?
We're gonna talk this through a couple
I
of,
do.
Does.
I'm sorry?
The calendar, I just.
Yes, definitely.
In conjunction with everything else.
Absolutely. Because it definitely needs to be in wave. Because I speak to some teachers who won't do like special lessons for Black History Month or Hispanic Heritage because they interweave it throughout the year and throughout the whole history curriculum.
Sure.
It's exactly where we need to get to as a society. Have everything integrated, where there's actually no need to, because this is like, okay, we recognize it now, but it needs to be interwoven, like you said.
Yeah.
Mr. Benahan.
Yeah, I'm going back when Ms. Brown said, when you said not only black, what does it mean? Explain me a little bit so I can
Because
I could give you a sample,
like for example, I'm saying like, let's not do something that's just culture specific. Because when people think of culture, they automatically think of food, they think of country, they think of flags and things like that give them pride, which is fine. But as we look into diversity, like, it's more than just culture. It's more than just culture. It's male versus, not male versus female. It's male and female. It's Black, Hispanic, whatever. It's more. It's
like more educated,
ELL.
yes.
educated more so that the people understand. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, more in depth so that we.
Like, it's good, like you said, flag and food and everything, and celebrate, the country, the town, whatever. But it's more educate more the people exactly what we're trying to do.
So if let's say it's a diversity week, diversity fair, whatever, yes, you would have maybe stations, whatever, where yes, okay, this is one concept of diversity when we look at cultures and flags and food and so forth. And here's another concept of diversity when we look at students with special.
Like right now, we're in the Black History Month.
Yep.
So like I told my parents and I told and any person, but Black History Month, but how they come from, how they start, not only because let's say African American, Black History Month can be any country, anything, we part of that,
So when you
for years.
think about Black History Month or individuals that have paved the way, if you think about it, it's more than just them being Black. It's like, how many of them were college graduates? How many of them were students that went to college? How many of them were
History, yeah.
So these are things that I would hope if we did do something big, that these are some of the things that we would tackle on, because then that also educates the community on, where there's a lack and where we can fix it. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I understand that.
And I'm thinking of careers as expose the kids to people who look like them and who are doctors or lawyers or what have you, besides the thing they get
did a really good thing just before COVID, it was during Black History Month a couple of years ago, did a whole career fair. There were over 100 and something professionals from the Black and Hispanic community.
I wanted to share something that my colleague shared with me like maybe a month ago on a totally unrelated issue, but just for the sake of adding it to the conversation, I think it's important. So it's called the Stages of Multicultural Curriculum Transformation. And so it's sort of this light assessment of where you think you might be in terms of really embracing diversity into curriculum. So, and it breaks it down in stages. So stage 1 is curriculum of the mainstream. Stage 2 is heroes and holidays, which is like, you've adopted. So stage 1, you've adopted some like sort of Eurocentric things into the curriculum. Heroes and holidays is, we celebrate certain heroes, Martin Luther King, or holidays. I don't know, trying to think of a cultural Lunar New Year, Stage 3 is called integration. And it's when teachers transcend heroes and holidays, adding substantial materials and knowledge and groups about non-dominant groups to the curriculum. Stage 4 is structural reform. So then it becomes much bigger than just an individual classroom, but really like this is something that our whole community, our whole district at large has adopted. And then you have stage 5, which is multicultural social action and awareness, which is the like ultimate stage of being inclusive and, and what have you. I mean, we're sort of at a bird's eye view level of the district. But like you said, I do think that Bridgeport is sort of at an advantage because we have such an abundance of diversity, and that goes obviously beyond racial and cultural, but also with all other elements of diversity that is just naturally a part of who we are, a part of our identity as a district. And so then it becomes structural. It doesn't mean that there's not opportunities for us to be intentional about improving, but we have that added benefit of us already kind of, that's the authentic lived experience of a lot of the people that live, work, and study in our district. So anyway, I'll share the link with you guys if you want to take a look at it and look at the different stages and the explanation of each level. But structurally, I feel like, culturally, I feel like the district is in good shape in terms of being welcoming to different types of people.
I think something like that can be useful to guide the event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you and you can kind of chew on it. Something to think about.
Right. Since this idea is basically in its infancy.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, do we want to put anything towards the full board yet, or do we want to work at, decide what it more looks like, and
Yeah.
we need a
Yeah.
budget around this, attach the whole thing
Yeah.
together?
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Before, because, let's iron it out as much as possible before them weighing in.
Or going to.
Yeah,
Any other board members are watching, we're going to be looking for some money sometime in the future, so get ready.
Lots of money, lots of money.
I'm the finance here, I can't ask for lots of money. Is that the last item? I believe. No. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Motion carries. We're adjourned.
Is there any chance